One West, y'all. I'm Shy Excel, man. And let me tell you something. We different over here. We big steppers. Let's go.
Go get a big stepper. Hard body, One West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas. Certified One West hitters, whoa. Go get a big stepper. Hard body, One West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas. Certified One West hitters, whoa. Yo, what you say? No, we don't play you out your mind. Watch what you say, that type of shit could get you lined. And if you search, then let me tell you what you'll find. The city is mine. Just a mud who became the pick of the litter. Now my name ring bells when you talk heavy hitters. Nice nigga, but don't make me transform like Thriller. Sam Cooke a nigga beat like I was born by the river. Go get her, you piss her, you get off of the shitter. Can't put you in the spot like you niggas are with her. Keep an eye open round for any nigga that slither. Cause it ain't no sunshine here like Bill Withers, whoa. Fuck you know about this life I live. How you gon' talk to me like I ain't lose no rib? Like I ain't lose no crib, ain't lose no kid. Ain't sleep in my car and I ain't lose no gig. Shit, I never gave an order that I ain't did. And I ain't never take a fucking thing that I wouldn't give. Always kept it a bill, homie, I ain't fib. And if I had to go sit, then I just do my bid. Yo, my whole team full of steel beams we can't fold. Your whole circle full of some squares you can't roll. That's why we always take it to levels you can't go. Talk shit, but you can see me with these hands though. If looks to kill like Cyclops, these niggas wanna see me in Pine Box. Know that on my watch, got a better chance to rewind clocks when you quit, nigga, when time stops, bitch. Go get a big stepper. Hard body, One West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas. Certified One West hitters, whoa. Go get a big stepper. Hard body, One West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas. Certified One West hitters, whoa.
This flow is award-winning. Torment him, bomb to death, I'm bored with him. Trash him, throw him away with the has-beens. Ice cold with the flow, I'm Alaskan. You was in the fucking jungle in the past tense. I be with the lions, they my friends, Carol Baskins. And like her, they'll never find a body. Tiger stripe tracksuit, feeling like Joe Exotic. Shit, I don't know what it is, but I know I got it. Feeling like Alonzo, surgical with the shotty. All you see is skull and bones, Illuminati. Probably, I be the illest nigga to do it. I just talk shit on the beat and they call it music. I just come provide you with heat, remain the coolest. You ain't never been in the street with all the shooters. I was sipping yak with rioters and looters. Gotta keep my boots laid, shoot straight. Run up on you with the deuce 8 in a screw face. It's bad out here, my style effortless. 2 hands hugging a Ruger, so affectionate. Lot of suckers don't want war, I'm respecting it. Biggest stepper, snatch your plate, the hood starving. Cause they got beard shoot trades like James Harden. Straight from NY to Philly, we still mobbing.
Go get a big stepper. Hard body, One West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas. Certified One West hitters, whoa. Go get a big stepper. Hard body, One West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas. Certified One West hitters, whoa. 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 Whoa.
One West, y'all. I'm Shy Excel, man.
Ooh, 27 Club.
All right, gang, let's really nail it this time. Here we go. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this Isupk can't nothing, we on fellowship. Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this Isupk can't nothing, we on fellowship. Florida Lee on my top, this a Saints hat. This the third can't be been in, he a J-Cat. Nigga tryna steal the sauce, yeah, I hate that. But I ain't make the rules, I can't change that. New bottle, new wine, yeah, I can't crack. Look, flag on the play, they grabbing face masks. Niggas always saving hoes where your cape at. The only killer that you know without no face tag. Hell yeah, my bitch bad, Proverbs 31, yeah. This is not a drill, I be 30'd up, yeah. He about to crack the sky, you better hurry up. It's all bad when you see us hang that jersey up. It's mad brick, I got the blick with my cover on. He a fed, he a
All right, shalom, salaki for the late start here. Try to get a few things printed off that didn't work out. We need new ink. Shalom, Yabashim and Shabbat thumb to the brothers. Yah Shemar Latabashim Yah to the sisters. We are the Isupk, the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, established in 1969, 1 West on the 25th Street, Harlem, New York. We are led by Commanding General Yana. We are not affiliated with any other organization. Israel, pay your tithes and get ready for September 21st, the feast of the memorial, the blowing of the trumpets. We're going to be cooking up the food here at the school. All of Israel is invited to come on through. Safe place for the family, for the friends. Free food, free brotherhood, free information. Come learn about the culture here in Milwaukee. The address is 4221 West North Avenue, Unit 101. The phone number is 414-293-3869. Isupk Milwaukee, Lashawan Qadash class. Today is Friday, September 12th. All right, so we're going to start off with some of the basics just because we got some young men here just to get them more experienced and fluid with the language. So we're going to have you start off writing the alphabet in the Paleo, and then underneath that, you're going to write it in the Assyrian. You can take the sheet if you want to, try to copy or try to use your memory to the best of your abilities, but you can use a sheet if you'd like to. After you get done completing the written portion of it, we'll just have you go through and recite. So come on up. Yeah. Well, it's like you can leave that one there. You can use this one when you get ready to it. You don't need your notes? No. You ain't got to. Nobody can afford to. All right, no sweat. Let's see how your penmanship is. Again, everybody's penmanship is going to be a little bit different. That's not really an issue, just so long as we're in the ballpark. But these exercises will help get us into the flow of matching each other so that we can understand when we're writing this out. Because when you see this in the Torah and the Tanakh, you're going to see the Assyrian script as it's printed up above here with the font that they use on a computer. This is going to be slightly different, as you might notice if you have that same font downloaded onto your phone, maybe one of your other social media devices. What's the issue? Yep, kick it off. Now make sure you're writing. Try to write big enough so that we can see it on camera. But just try to write small enough to make sure you can fit everything on the board. You don't have to fit it all on one line. You can do 2 lines if you need to. But just try to make sure that you got enough space to fit them all on the board in one copy so that you ain't got to erase it and then write more of it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so if you look at your phone and if you've got the Hebrew, you got the Hebrew keyboard switched up on there, you're going to see a very different version of it, different form than the script that you have up here. It's going to be that middle line here, the middle row. That's going to be the printed version that you're going to see on a computer's font. On the keyboard on your phone, it's going to be a little bit different. You're not going to get as much of the accents. The wa, for example, is just like a straight line. The na at the end of the word, the variation that it takes on, that's going to be another straight line. The ya, instead of looking more like a comma up here, it's just like another little tiny straight line, just a little dash, a little mark. But keeping in practice with the alphabet, with the culture, just helps you keep us more in sync with each other so that when we're writing this out, we can understand, we can at least try to make out, the characters that we're trying to write. And Lord allow, in time, we'll all be on the same page. It might take a little bit, but we're going to get there. That's why we have the Lashawan Qadash classes every Friday all across the nation. So you can always check out a class. You are encouraged to practice on your own time as well. That would be, that would benefit you more. But, some people wait till Friday. Let's try to get in the habit of practicing maybe once a day, a few times a week before class. So you can just stay in the rhythm of it. So far, we're going good. Shout out to Quam's Health and Wellness for the incense, the resin package. Get the subscription and you will never run out. Put a little space in between those so that when you put the Assyrian, you can match them up. No, like from here to here. Drop this down to like right about here or something. So you can write the Assyrian under this bar and then under the next line. I don't think I saw you look at that paper once yet. So I missed it. Okay. All right, good man. Write the Assyrian next, and then you recite. No, write the Assyrian right underneath it. So going in line with all the other characters that it would match up with. Again, as it always goes, the Hebrew is written from the right to the left. It's written in red from the right to the left. English and most other dialects are written in red from the left to the right. The Paleo, which is going to be the characters on top, this variation of it. The Paleo is a pictographic language, written language. Just to be more direct. The Assyrian underneath here, it's not meant to be a pictographic dialect. You can see some similarities with certain characters, but as far as I recall, there's nothing about the Assyrian that's meant to be pictographic. It was just cleaned up a little bit more so that we don't look so, it's ghetto to our slave masters. The same way that they want us to clean up our language now. Same way that they can't understand us now without a translator. We're speaking English. Because whatever it is that we do, whatever we put our hands to, we put our flavor to, put our style to. Almost there. Again, everybody's penmanship is going to be a little bit different. So I practice, just so we can make it all a little bit more fluid. That's all right. Got that leeway. See if he's going to go for the extra credit. There we go. Everybody's penmanship is going to be unique and special to themselves. But the more we practice, the more we get to understand each other. So we're not going to trip over discrepancies in penmanships. And with this younger generation too, man, you got to give them some credit because they're growing up without cursive. I think a lot of us in the older classes, I was born in '85, so I think from my generation, we may have. I'd like to think we got slightly better penmanship than this new generation. That's because we grew up with cursive. There was kind of an expectation of, presentation. These guys, they got it easy. That's why we got these classes every Friday across the nation. You can find it. Isupk.com. Search up the school near you. Or you can just type in on YouTube or on Facebook. Probably more so on YouTube. But just in the search bar, Isupk, Lashawan, Qadash, or Hebrew language. The more we practice the reading and the writing, the more relevance, again, we give to a culture that, for all intents and purposes, had been, lost and forgotten and just completely dismissed unless you're wearing a small hat. And we ain't got none of those. Unless you got a ridiculously small hat and crazy sideburns, just wild sideburns, then, the world thinks that the Hebrew language, the Hebrew culture has just been decimated and left on the wayside. All right, final answer. That part I'm not gonna have you do right now. You can skip that. Just if you're done with the writing portion of it, go to reciting. Speak up. Yep.
Abba ga da ha wa za ha ta ya ka la ma na sa I put za kwa rasha tha.
All right. Give you that. I'll give you that. All right, a couple things that I would just go over here. Is this the only form that the Ka would take? Look at the board if you need to. Look at your notes. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And when does that appear? At the end. Now, is that the only form that Pa would take? All right, very good. Very good. All right, so the only couple things that I would say about this, the guy be extended more. I know it looks like it might be a little shorty up there, but it would pretty much, it would maintain the relative same size as the rest of the characters. The Ba, now again, I can't really say too much about this. The only thing I would say is maybe for some of these, round them off. This one's good to have that kind of square edge. But for some of these, maybe that's just my personal preference. Again, your penmanship, it's going to be all you, but that might help make the distinctions a little clearer when writing. Obviously, it's your penmanship, your handwriting, so you're going to know normally what you're writing down. But like for a minute there, I thought you were going this route with the guy. It's not gonna be tiny like that. Even up here, it is. You don't see it drop down, but like for instance, the Wa up here on the chart, that starts above the characters. Technically, it doesn't really. It would all be in the same line as everything. So this really would be the same size, the relative size as the rest of the characters. Everything else is good. And then just to stress these parts again, I'd say next time we do this, maybe we'll try to write it side by side, leave enough room to write it side by side, just so that you can show the size comparison. Just because that part is pretty important when we're going through it. And again, it's never going to be that dramatic of a difference when we see it in the script. It's only going to be probably even that close. But it's good to have these all the different forms that they take side by side, just that we can show any size comparison if needed. Everything else looks pretty good. All right, solid. So now last week we have gone over the salute for the brothers and the sisters, correct? All right, today we'll go over my book. They will go over the Lord's Prayer. Now, because of your familiarity with this, I'm going to write it out using the English characters, how it would be pronounced. And I'm going to spell it with each character either being pronounced singular by itself or tied together with the next character. It's going to be your job to translate it back into, I think we'll do, the Paleo and the Assyrian. You're going to translate it back into the Hebrew language with any adjustments that you need to make that's going to match the English the English form that it's about to take here. That music. All right, so this is Lord's Prayer. You can find it in Matthew chapter 6. Verses 9 to 13. I think we're going to do it maybe a couple lines at a time. So we're not going to be able to fit all of it on here at once, I don't think. So now, again, this is all going from the left to the right, but when you do this, you're going to go from the right to the left. It's just I don't want you to get confused that like you're trying to match it up with the words, right above it. All right. So then you're going to do like the paleo here. Allot yourself maybe that much room. Do the Assyrian here. And then we'll do another line here. Cut off. You can see some real quick, just for clarity. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Okay, so just for clarity, we added this in just so that everybody knows what the Most High's name is. You're not going to see this in the scripture. We're going to start here. So now the Balion and then the Assyrian. To the right down. I mean, you could write a little bit bigger, but again, whatever your comfort level is going to be, sometimes it might. Give it a little bit more space. So far, so good. Try to make sure that you're keeping it on a straight line so that you got room underneath when you write these series. Shout out to Coffee. This is going to be one of those that you really want to lock in. Most High, your nation, your tribe. Good man. Good man. All right. Now, one part you got to fix on that real quick. All right. All right. You caught it. All right. Let's see if we can't sneak in the Assyria now. You kind of got narrow at the end here, but you can write it underneath too. Use this space. Do it in the Assyria. With the Assyrian, we don't really use those yet. Well, all right. Everybody gets fancy with the Assyrian. And the Hebrew language was always a consonantal language. That's how you would identify it now, consonantal. Even though in our native tongue we didn't have really that concept of consonants or vowels. It was just a consonantal language. Until people start putting on these like really, really ill-fitting small hats that somehow never come off. Then it started changing into these different vowel notes. They turned say that again. It is more so like that. Yeah. Man, like they changed the letter W, the character W, the Y, into a O, into a U, into a V, because the Yiddish culture, the Yiddish speaking people, they were taking their culture and superimposing it onto the Hebrew dialect because of how they spoke and how we wrote it. They couldn't make sense of that. They couldn't make that transition. So they had to insert these little dots and dashes to try to give them, to try to signal how they're supposed to pronounce our characters, our alphabet, our language, in opposition to how they speak. But it was always a consonantal language. And it's something too that I'm slowly getting more seasoned with this. All the different grammatical, the laws of grammar, I guess you could say, all the different laws of grammar that have been inserted. And again, I'd say mainly with English, even though every culture, really does have kind of their own linguistic kind of rules and regulations. A lot of that stuff wasn't really supposed to apply to this. The Hebrew language, the Lashawan Qadash, the Holy Tongue, was a very simple language. It wasn't as complex as how like English had muddied everything up. Because again, English is taking all these different words, different pronunciations of foreign words, in a sense. And the evolution of some of these terms, coming from old worlds, a time long since past. I don't want to say changing the form and function of it, but definitions definitely have been skewed over time. Some of the concepts have been watered down or mistranslated. You got some cultures like there's no English equivalent to certain words from different cultures. And in the Hebrew, it's largely going to be concepts that you see portrayed. Like Shabbat Shemayim, that's going to be a whole phrase in itself. I think that's going to be the equivalent of like maybe 3 or 4 English words to convey that concept there. But there's some words that just don't literally translate like that linear from a different language, from the Hebrew into the English. But there's space there between these words. Like, I'm thinking this is all one word here. All right. And practice makes perfect. Right now it might be kind of going slow at it, but just to build up the experience and the exposure to it, after a while it's gonna run a lot smoother, a lot cleaner. Why are you shaking your head? What's wrong with that? Oh, just the handwriting sloppy yourself? It's okay. We all started off that way. I think everybody started off that way, but it's baby steps. We're coming back to a style that's just not familiar to us anymore, which is why we got these Lashawan Qadash classes, Hebrew language, the Holy Tongue classes every Friday. You can check the backlogs too on YouTube on all the respective zones, and even some of the newer schools like Toronto just had theirs, just maybe an hour I think before us. In Canada, and I think they're actually over a couple other zones. They're representing a couple other zones. They was I gonna say that's a newer zone that got established as far as like doing online classes and whatnot. But I mean, from the East Coast, West Coast, North, South, overseas, Central America, Mexico, from when General Kabbalah Mat was teaching the Lashawan Qadash. Even like when I came into the school, it was kind of towards the end of that, I think. But General Q was teaching the Lashawan Qadash when I first came in about 10 years ago. All right, so far, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You caught it. All right, get a young man some credit. Get the trooper here some credit. He caught it. All right, good job. All right. So now the only critiques as far as this, just watch the heights. You started sloping off there just with the heights. This is a common thing. I still do this every once in a while too. Just trying to, in the battle, trying to keep everything in one solid line. You end up getting that slope. So that definitely happens. All right, so now read out what you wrote here.
Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Qadash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh.
All right, very good. And Yahweh is the Most High's name. This is his formal, proper name. You're not going to see, though, the only one variation that I think we see in Psalms is when they refer to the Most High with Yah, but that's not his name. You got a lot of people trying to be all buddy with God, trying to give him a nickname and shit. That's not. Again, this is a very formal approach to it. Also, we are subordinate. We don't. I ain't got no nickname for Captain the Bar. We don't do that. They might, like other captains might, you know, might have a shorthand amongst themselves. But that's not the formal way to approach this. So what the trooper had was correct. Abanaw, Shebashamayim, Qadash, Hayah, Shemka, and then because we're speaking about his name, which is what this means. I'm gonna write this out too and translate it to what it actually means in English. So now, if you were to take these, like the Lord's Prayer in the Blue Letter Bible, and the way you would try to line it up, you're going to see some things that, if you were to go from literal Hebrew to English, things are going to be out of place. Or I should say they're going to seem out of place. But there's going to be a couple things that we're going to address here too, as we're going, that we're going to have different studies on later. Make sure we get to the right spot here. Slide here. On this. All right, so Abanaw is our Father. So now we have Abba here for Father. Nawa is going to be our. So this would be the possessive adjective. And these always appear at the end of the word. And it's not going to be like a wah separate, like they're pronounced separate here. Sorry, they're pronounced separate here. But when they're combined like this, just like yum. When yum is combined like that, that always makes a plural. But when we have nawa here at the end of the word, that's always going to be our. So we got our Father. I believe you said which art. I always get that part confused. Which art in heaven Shemayim is going to be for heaven, because heaven in itself is kind of already a plural word. Like, even though you could be talking about something specific and singular with the word heaven, because the definition of itself could represent, many different kinds, different layers of heaven, different stations in heaven. So this, from what I've seen, this is always going to be plural. It's always going to come in a plural form, but you're not going to see this with an S on the end of it. Or you could. Like in this case, it really wouldn't matter, because this is going to take on that form no matter what. Even if you had the S on to the heavens, it's still going to be in this Shemayim. So now, which art in English, in order to make sense of this portion of the phrase, you got to draw it out like this. Art, of course, is just an old English way of saying are, which or is, in a sense, which is in heaven, who art in heaven, who is in heaven. But really, ba is going to be in, and these two, Kasha is going to take this portion. Really, it's just this, but you got to throw in some of these little extras just to kind of fill in the gaps. Otherwise, who in heaven or which in heaven, it would still make sense in the Hebrew concept of it, but in English, it gets a little muddy. Now, these are going to be the conjunctions, or the what's the other word I'm looking for? The proposition. Like, you're going to see conjunctions like in, or and, or at, or the, things like that are going to come before the root word. So Shemayim is our root word here. That's like the actual proposition. That's the focus of it. But what about the heavens? We're not just talking about it by itself, like saying, look up. Oh, like there's heaven. We're talking about our Father who is in heaven. Now, ba does not, it's not always going to be exclusively in either. It could be unto. Just depending on how, how the context of the word that it's going to be in conjunction with, because you're never really going to see this by itself. Ba by itself, I don't even think it has its own word like that. This is always going to precede the root word. A lot of people will call this like the prefix, and then this part the suffix. But for all intents and purposes, these are going to be the prepositions. These are going to be the possessives. So you got the portion that comes before the word, you got the portion that comes after. That principle of that root word here, Abba. But what about Father? Talking about our Father. What in heaven? Now, in English, this is going to be hallowed. Is it H-A-L-L? It's like H-O-L-L. What does hallowed mean? What's Qadash mean? Essentially, what's hallowed mean? Pretty much synonymous with it. But why? But we're not using the word holy. That's the concept that's being conveyed, because what's the word holy mean? I guess that'd be more to the heart of the problem. What's the word holy mean? It's separate. So hallowed kind of takes on that form or that distinction here. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed, separate, holy, something separate. Is it be thy or is thy? Be thy. So now I gotta double check. Like I don't believe this is like the root word in itself, because we got Yah here. So at the end, that's normally that's gonna be thy or like thee, just depending on how what they're trying to convey in English is how this is gonna end up changing up. So the expression that we're going for, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And again, here, this is kind of the sloppy part of it. Because Sham is name. But Ka at the end of the word as the possessive, like Nawa is ours. Because sometimes you might see Kawa too. But Ka is theirs. So if this is possessive for us, the Ka is possessive for theirs, for them. But in this case, it's taken on that form, thy. Because we're talking about the Most High's name. So it's his name. I think more directly that this might translate to his. But again, if this form is talking about ours, this form is talking about theirs, somebody else's. This is like me, mine, ours, theirs, his, them. That's also gonna be possessive, but that's not our name. Otherwise, it would be Shamnau if we're talking about our name. But it's the Most High's name that we're referring to, so it takes on the thy here. And if you look this up in the blue letter, like usually it should have like the arrows that kind of go above and underneath it with some of these English words, because again, they might fall out of place if you're trying to translate it directly. We'll see if I can pull this up on the screen real quick. Let me just share this part so y'all can see a little bit about what I'm talking about here. You know what? One thing I forgot about too, this is going to be in the Greek. There is a Hebrew Matthew, but the blue letter does not have that, Salakia. So I don't know if it's going to give me that same consideration. From the Greek over to how it would be in the Hebrew. It's like I'll have to try to see about getting the Hebrew Matthews so that we can illustrate that a little bit better. Because the Greek is going to be a little bit different, I believe. But We'll continue. But yeah, so this portion in the Hebrew, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. All right, come on up. Right off to a strong start. Give yourself enough room. Yeah, and I was like, yikes. You all right? Everybody's penmanship is gonna be a little bit different from everybody else. It's all right. It's all right. That's what makes you you. Your penmanship, the way you dribble a basketball, the way you tie your shoes. That's how we know it's Asharatasa. We're gonna be able to tell it too by how you write. I think Hebrews. It's like let me start this so I can kind of step back. I think brothers and or sisters who got a background in art or like graffiti, I think we got an easy time with the Hebrew. I think this shit just kind of makes sense to us. And again, even still, it's going to take a little while to kind of get into that cycle, that rhythm, that pattern of being something, so close to you and something used on a regular basis. The goal is to build up our familiarity. And so you get it in enough space that's looking like it's going to be one same word. Everybody's handwriting is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be special and distinct to themselves from everybody else. It's what makes it so cool. And there's no wrong way to do it. I mean, whatever's going to get you familiar with it, everything's going to come with experience, with practice. Just like reciting the prayer, trying to memorize all these prayers without using the notes. I'm still not that cool yet, something that we're working on. But to try to remember, I still get tripped up with the English sometimes, with the Old English, even though we've been hearing that pretty much our whole lives. Just the whole which art in heaven, like sometimes that's still a little funky. Is that one word or two words there? Okay. All right, Paleo looking pretty good. Would you hurt your shoulder being cool at school? Raising your hand, answering all the questions at school. Got your hand up. Oh, God. Shucks. No, that wasn't it, huh? All right. Start underneath. Yeah. We'll let this be reserved for the Paleo. Paleo, let me see. Who's that hit single coming out? Oh, wait, no Cap. Yeah, that blended on Captain the Bar. Priest and Captain of 10,000, the Bar Mott of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And Priest and Officer of 1,000, Lakam Yala of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, are responsible for his hit single not being shared with the world.
It's not done yet.
It's not done yet? Oh, so not just them. So Trooper Asharataza as well of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Say that again. What was that excuse?
I don't own the studio.
Oh, he don't own the studio. He don't own the studio. It's not like you live right down the street from it either, though. Because I got some projects I got to finish too. Can't get that mad at you. Let's talk about some of these lines. Let's talk about some of this line work. Good thing that we don't do tattoos. But I'd have butchered somebody. I'd have butchered somebody's skin. Which is why they states practice, consistency, and doing it on your own time too. You know, if we didn't have to keep the laws of the land, there would be a lot. You would see a lot of this on the streets. And again, I can only speak for the Isupk Commander General Yohana. We are not affiliated with any other organization, but we don't go out there just breaking laws either. Not the Most High's laws, not the laws of the land of our captivity. To keep the integrity and the reputation of this school in good standing and intact with each other and with our oppressor. People might not like what we say when we teach the truth of the Bible, when we're out there on the streets, educating our people, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians on their culture and holding our oppressors to the fire for their crimes and never letting them forget their history because they like to just sweep it under the rug. They might not like what we say, but they can't say that we're doing anything wrong or illegal. They can't ever say that we were out there shooting up delis, getting into fights, picking on people, trying to like some organizations out there, they'll single out people in the crowd and start talking about them specifically, individually. You know, if nobody engages us on the streets, we don't engage no individuals out there either. It's not a personal thing. You know, little Bobby and Susie, listen, go about your day, man. But if your mother or your father comes up to the camp and you're with them and they start opening their mouth, you might just want to duck for cover because mommy and daddy getting blazed on. And a little Timmy, a little Susie, you want to open your mouth about it? Listen, you can get scolded just as well. I think we're an equal opportunity checker and cutting organization. So, and you know, anybody can catch it, but you know, this isn't a personal thing. Some people make it personal. Some people just get their feelings hurt and don't know how to reconcile that. I bet therapists since 1969, I bet therapists were getting paid really good money. Since we hit the streets, I bet a lot of people's therapists were really cashing them checks. And then they were probably bouncing too. Who knows? Yeah, if it weren't for this school, wasn't for the responsible, diligent leadership of Commander General Yohana, me, myself personally, we'd have been out here with graffiti. We'd have been vandalizing. The same things that we probably were vandalizing prior to in the world. But then that also shows the distinction of people that are in the truth and people that are still in the world. That's a very emotional response to go commit crimes like that, vandalizing people's properties, damaging people's property just because you're mad about, you know, a bit of history that you can't control. You know, what's in the past is in the past. Okay. But when that past comes back to haunt you because they don't leave the past in the past and they commit the same crimes today, well, it's worth mentioning. It's now it's relevant again, and now it should be talked about. It should be discussed. I doubt people are going to, well, when was that? A couple days ago? Some of the vocabulary words, if we got time, which I don't know, might have to try to squeeze this in later, but we got time, a couple of vocabulary words just randomly, you know, popped in my head that picked out of the clouds. Just so happened to kind of be relevant to an incident that happened recently. Involving, you know, anatomical body parts. Yeesh. Sometimes they get away from you. They're not all winners. But you were right. You were right. It was just real tiny. You was right. All right, now read it out. What did you just write here? Make sense of this for the people at home.
Malakwithka, Taba'a, Murtazaka, Haya, Aisha.
There we go. Well done. Well done, Trooper. All right. So now he spelled that out clear as day in the Hebrew, in the Assyrian, and in the Paleo. Now let's write this out in English, because again, some things jump around over here. All right, Malak with God. Malak is kingdom. Malak Wath is king, or it's like Malak is king. Malak Wath is kingdom. But we're not talking about our kingdom. Whose kingdom we talking about? Well, there wouldn't be no there. You know, nobody else has ownership of the kingdom except for one. So how would you express that today? It's like, yeah, I guess the caveat in the old English, how might that sound? How's the prayer? And that's because of this guy here. Thy kingdom. So now again, in English, the way that English flows, this possessive adjective would come before the root word of the principal word here. In Hebrew, that stays to the end. The concept here that's being presented is, thy kingdom, the kingdom of the Most High. This is his kingdom. Taba'ah, this is just going to become, thy kingdom come. Ratazah, that's going to be will. But this makes it turn into, in English, how's that going to sound? If this is will, whose will? Thy will. Thy kingdom come, thy will. So now this would just be Haya. That would just be. So in the last one that we were doing, that's just the word in itself, be done. So far we got our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Go on to the next portion. We need more markers. Yeah. We're gonna exhaust this one. That way, this one still has some life in it too when you're trying to write. All right, come on up and translate. Here we are. This is round 3. So far, you're 2 for 2. So far, the young brother is 2 for 2. It's like I'll try to get that Hebrew Matthews also to see if we can get a clearer kind of translation between the English and the Hebrew. I know on some of the other prayers, like the other prayers that we do, some of them are coming from the Old Testament. So we'll have that Hebrew to English interlinear translation available to us on the Blue Letter Bible. Because again, I want y'all to visibly see how some of the words, some of the phrases are going to be out of order when you're writing the translations out, and how there's going to be English filler words to help kind of convey or close the Hebrew thought. Because again, even with the individual characters in the Hebrew language, depending on the context of it, we're conveying a concept. It's never really just a word, and there's never really just one definition for that word, for that character. I always try to compare it to Spanish, even though I don't speak Spanish. So any Spanish speakers out there, correct me if I'm mistaken on this, or if I got this kind of misunderstood. But like you'll see how in English it might be talking about, like it'll have the adjective, it'll have the noun. You might be talking about like the green ball, but in Spanish, they might be received backwards and compared to English. It might say the ball. Like in Spanish, if you're to translate it like linear like that, it might have to read the ball that is green or the ball green. Now in English, that's not going to make much sense. That's going to sound, backwards. It's going to sound dumb. It's going to sound stupid to you. Going from, if you're trying to equivocate that literally from Spanish to English, it just might be out of place. So in English, you got to use a couple filler words. In English, you got to switch some of the words around. I was wondering if he was going to catch it. I was going to let him hang. For the folks at home that's playing along, I was going to let him hang, but he caught it. He caught it. And then we're just gonna let it stew and then bring it up next week. I think that he did right the entire week, and then just tear it apart next week. So far, he is going strong. The paleo is 3 for 3, people. If you're playing along at home, you're watching at home, brother is 3 for 3 with the paleo. Yeah, you can't really see that at all on the YouTube. Just this. This is very faint. I will have to switch over to that marker, but I'm just trying to let it live. So locking some of our dry erase markers in their last days. This one's on its last leg. Just make it official. We'll throw this one out. So y'all ain't got to squint your eyes. That almost looks like a blur on YouTube. All right. But if you could see it, you would notice how spectacular my penmanship in my handwriting is. Sorry y'all missed it. Maybe next time. Tune in next week. Tune in next week when we got fresh markers and you get to see a brand new look, brand new Z, a little more pop, a little bit more pop to it. Took a different turn. And don't let me stop you. And don't pay me no attention, man. You do you. Stop you from shining. Doing great. Lashawan Qadash classes every Friday across the nation in their respective time zones. In the Midwest, normally we'll be starting these off at 7 p.m. against Slovakia. That was on me for having a late start. I was gonna have a couple things printed off for us today for some vocabulary words, but ran into some technical problems behind the scenes. But from 7 to 9, we're about to. I think we're gonna wrap it up. After this one, after we translate this one into the English, we'll clip the class here, and then we'll pick up with the other half of the Lord's Prayer and on Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 13 next Friday. Try to run through, see if I can. Yeah, see if we can get these vocabulary words. So that might be posted. Let's see that's what he's settling on. It's like that's what he's going with. That's your final answer. All right, for the good people at home, what did you write?
Ba'arataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashamayim, Nathananao.
That is correct. So far, we got Abinah with Shabbat Shemaim, Qadash, Hayat, Shemka, Yahawah, Malakika, Taba'a, Ratzaka, Hayat, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Hayat, Bashamayim, Nathan, Lanao. That's where we are. All correct. So now in English, let's spell this out for them. Nobody understands what the hell we just said here. This is why we got the classes, and this is why we speak in the common tongue. If we were in Mexico, Puerto Rico, the DR, Brazil, well, I guess Brazil, they might speak a couple different, it might be Spanish, or it might be Portugal, depending on where you're at. Portuguese, I should say. But here in America, at large, we speak in English. It's like, let me just do this. We predominantly speak English over here. So we're going to use the English language to our advantage so that we can educate and communicate with our people over here in this diaspora. We'll speak Spanish too if we need to. Shout out to Tabak and Nas. Shout out to Ayar. Shout out to the south side of Milwaukee. We're seeing y'all soon. Shout out to the letter J. That seems to have a lot of people really in their tassels. That is a direct shot to anybody who's wearing so-called fringes on their t-shirt. Those are tassels. Stop doing that. All right. Ba'aratazah, Kawa, Haya, Bashamayim, Nathanlanao. In English, it's going to go something like, in earth, this whole thing here, as it is, because this is going to be in heaven, because again, the ba as the preposition or the conjunction is going to be in. It's like I got to double check that if I'm using the English term right for that, for a conjunction or a preposition. But yeah, the ba in, Aratazah, earth, Shamayim, the heavens. Now, for the past few translations, we've seen this instead of be. But again, the concept that's being displayed here, as it is. So be, kind of, like the way it be, just as it exists, as it is in heaven, is the same way they want it to, is the same way that the Most High's kingdom and his will is going to be on earth. Nathan is going to be give. Now will give us. So now before we had hour, la is normally gonna be 2. So 2 hour to us. This again, the concept is us, because that next part, in earth as it is in heaven, give us this daily, or our daily bread, as we forgive, or it's like, give us our daily bread and lead us not to temptation. Is that how it goes? It's like, give us this day our daily bread. But we're not that far yet. But in English, and again, this is going to be that funky part that we see. In English, it's going to say, give us this day. Our daily bread. In the Hebrew, Nathan Lanawa, it's going to say Nathan Lanawa Lakam Kal Yawam. But the way that it's going to transfer over is right now we're going to have give us. I want to give you the whole bit right now. It's a lot. Because I want to complete this little transition. Just like I get a little bit more room. Come. All right, so Nathan Lanawa, Lakam, Kal Yawam. Give us bread all day is more accurate to how this would translate from just kind of a word to word translation from the Hebrew to the English. But in the English, in the old English, the old Quaker English, just because of this culture, this dialect, there's a little bit more that needs to be brought to this translation to make sense of it in English, the way that they speak. Because you could just say, yeah, give us bread all day. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us bread all day. I'd be happy with that. I'd be fine with that. Just me, myself. I'm a simple guy. Instead, it's give us, what is it? This day our daily bread. That's break. Give me a break too, but no, we just want the bread. Give us this day our daily bread. So if we were to go again from the Hebrew to the English, literally, and just try to parallel it word for word, in English, it's going to sound a little backwards. It's not going to sound, it's going to sound like a child. Even though the Hebrew is very simplistic to that point. Just to make sense of it in English because they're so, white people are so much more sophisticated. Give us this day our daily bread, because that was the style back then. Even though for us it was just a lot more simple. And again, it's the concept that's being conveyed here. All day. Now again, all day, daily. It's not that far of a jump. But normally, like if you were to look at the word call, you're gonna get all as kind of the common substitute. But it doesn't sound as good, to them back then. And we're just going again with the style of English that was used when they were translating this from the older text, from the Hebrew, from the Hebrew and Greek scholars, when they're translating this back into the Old English. That was the style of the day back then. But just to kind of show you how some of the complications that would arise when we're reading it in that version, in that text, in that King James, which is nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with the King James. That is the only authorized American version for the Word of God, is the King James Bible. Everything else, it's like a thought for thought. What the translators think is trying to be conveyed versus what the top Hebrew and Greek scholars were able to translate from the Hebrew and Greek languages, those concepts into English. That's the closest that you would get is the King James, 1611, to be more exact, because that has the Apocrypha in it, and it doesn't have some of the updated words. And then in Spanish, the Santa Biblia, I believe is what it's called. That would be the best Spanish translation to use. In between, the Hebrew, the Greek, the English, the King James, and then the Spanish language, the Santa Biblia would be the best one to use for that. But just to give you kind of a more in-depth look as to how some of the language barriers can, the complication that they can have when we're trying to convey these thoughts into a different dialect. Now, with the UPK and the Commander General Hana being the authority of the Bible and the Hebrew culture, it's on us to help provide the guidelines and the boundaries, the standard for what's going to be proper Hebrew into the proper English. So tune in next week. We'll finish the other half of Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 to 13, the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew into the English. Shout out to the trooper. Good job today, brother. And pay your tithes. Israel, pay your tithes. Do it now. Do it fast. September 21st, the feast of the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. Contact the school near you. If you need any accommodations met, if you have any contributions that you can make, contact the school near you and see about how you can get involved. Shalom.